Okay, here we are. This is Lewis Katz, and we're going to just talk a couple of seconds about our little board here, the Arduino. You notice I've got it plugged into USB and into the back of my computer. And the board has a bunch of little parts. But today we're going to look at this little green on light up here. And there's a little yellow light down here that might be flashing, and it might be off. If it's off right now, that's okay. We're going to make it flash. And this is an Arduino, and its brains are in this big long chip here. And the chip is replaceable if you burn it out, but that makes it seem simpler than it is. It'll also take power if it's not plugged into your computer through this little round barrel jack here. So this is an Arduino Uno. So I got it plugged in. I'm going to set it down. And then we're going to look, hopefully you've got the interface installed, the Arduino IDE. When you start it up, it'll start up with a sketch labeled with the date right up there. And it's also labeled in this tab. And you can go under the File menu and into the Examples, and then into the Basics, and get the Blink sketch up. And it'll bring up Blink. And this is the sketch that we'll be looking at the beginning. So I'm going to circle with my mouse here so you can see things. This little tag here, the slash and the dot, means it's the beginning of a big long comment. It doesn't do anything except tell you what the program's about. And you'll notice it's got the name of the program, and then what it does. It turns an LED on for a second and then off repeatedly. And it says most Arduinos have an onboard LED that you can control. A bunch of things, who wrote it, who adapted it, when they did it, and they tell you what the rights are to this code. It's in the public domain, which means that we can use it. This is the end of a long comment. So that does nothing except inform us what it does. There are also short comments. These two slashes are a short comment, so it also does nothing except inform us. And it says the setup function runs once when you press reset or power up your board. So this is something that happens just as you start up the board. It starts up and it does this to get everything ready. And this is the setup function. It starts here. You don't have to know what any of this means right now, but between these two brackets is the function called setup, and it just runs once. And what it says here is pin mode. This is to change the mode on one of the pins on your Arduino. And the pins are these things that run down here, and these black gizmos down the side of your Arduino. And pin 13 is special because it has an LED, a light attached to it, an LED light emitting diode attached to it. So pin mode, it says LED built in, which on the Uno is pin 13. And output. So what this means is that it sets this up so that it can make something go. And as an output, a digital pin output, it can either be 0 volts or 5 volts. When it's 5 volts, the LED lights up. When it's 0 volts, it doesn't. Down here, this is the main part of your program, the loop function. Here it says the loop function runs over and over again forever. So here's the start of the loop. It's got a bracket. And the end of the loop, another bracket. So between there is the loop function. You notice if I light this one up, this gets a little box around it. If I light this one up, that one gets a little box around it. It tells us where this code is contained and which bracket goes with which bracket. And this says digital write. This means to write to one of the pins. Digital, either 0 or 5 volts, either on or off. Digital write to this same pin, LED built in, which on this Arduino is pin 13. And high. High is the same as 5 volts or on. Low is 0 volts or off. And then it has a thing here. It says delay 1000. And that's 1000 milliseconds. So there's 1,000 of those in a second. So if it says delay 1,000 1,000ths, that's 1 second. Yeah. And then so that will turn it on. It'll wait 1 second. And then it says digital write LED built-in low. That turns it off. And then again it says delay 1 second. It comes down to this bracket. It says, hey, I'm done with loop. It comes back up here and starts again. So what happens is it turns it on, it waits a second. It turns it off, it waits a second. It comes back to the top, turns it on, waits a second, turns it off, waits a second. Keeps going around. So now we've got these buttons up here. Gonna have to redo some of this or make another simple video. This is to check the code to see if it's right. And down here it says compiling, done compiling, and everything is in black and white. It's great. But let's say we make a mistake somewhere. Let's just put an X in here, and we'll check it, and we'll see what it says. It says it expects a semicolon before the XXX. Oh, there's something wrong. On which line? It lit it up red. There it is, lit line 28. All I got to do is get rid of that XXX and it'll work again. So I can check it again and it'll all come out black and white. This button, you can see that it says upload up there. This uploads it to your Arduino. So I am going to press that and really quickly press photo booth. And you can see those lights flashing down here. They flash down there. I will do it again. This time I'll drag it out of here so we can see it happen. And those are the TX and RX lights. The TX and RX lights just say TX is to talk, it's transmitting to the board, and TX is the board is transmitting to the computer, and RX is the board's receiving from the computer. And now we got that light flashing on, wait a second, off, on, wait a second, off, wait a second, on, wait a second, off, wait a second. There it goes. And so we've sent that program to the board. So there you go. So the questions are, how would you make it blink short and then long, or long and then short, or change the rate of the blink? How could you get the code to do that? So here's the code again. So right in here, this makes it go on, it waits a second, this makes it go off, waits a second. Should be pretty easy to figure out how to have it do something else after this. You can get rid of this comment here and have it do something else after it. So every one of these commands, just about, there's some that don't need it, have a semicolon at the end of it that says, hey, I'm done. You know, this is the end of the line. So digital write, LE built-in high, end of the line. So all you have to do is copy the format in here. You ought to be able to make it go. But let's just see what happens if we change this to 100. So it's high for only 100 milliseconds, 1/10 of a second. So we'll upload that. So you can see the on is for a much shorter time now. And there you have it. That's an Arduino. You can write a program. And I have to learn how to stop this.